When did you move abroad?
2015.
2015. How old were you?
21.
20. Girl, I left when I was 22. We were babies. I don't know who let us do this. Today we are starting on what do you have to think about as you prepare to move abroad for the first time.
You have to report all of that back to the US.
No me diga eso. So you're thinking about moving abroad and you have no idea what that means, what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to pull it off. It's a big ask, so we're gonna chunk it. And first, let's talk about your financial strategy for moving abroad.
That's a huge part of it. So, I mean, when you are initially moving abroad, right, the first part is obviously all of your assets are in the US. Now you have to move abroad, you're gonna earn in a different currency, you're gonna have non-US bank accounts, non-US financial accounts, and then guess what? You have to report all of that back to the US.
No me diga eso. But first, we have to introduce you, Natalie.
Okay, before we get to the good parts, why am I even here and why can I talk about these topics? Well, I'm Natalie Goldstein, CEO of MyExpatTaxes, and that is the leading tax software for US Americans living abroad filing their US taxes. But you could also use this if you're living in America as an expat and you also have to file US taxes. So basically, if you have international assets and you got to report that back to the IRS, myexpattaxes.com is the place to be.
And I've been using them for the last 4 years, so I can definitely validate that this is a great service. The IRS has not called me once, and I really appreciate everything that you've done for me as a client, as a friend. So let's get into it.
As your personal IRS enrolled agent as well.
Yes, they're afraid of her. I swear to God.
I wouldn't put it that far, but thank you.
But before we continue, I need to introduce myself. Hey guys, it's Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel, Wander Onwards. We have a whole playlist about personal finance for US expats abroad, so go check it out after you watch this video. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a like while you're here. Today, we are starting on what do you have to think about as you prepare to move abroad for the first time. Whether you're part of the military, being expatriated abroad, studying abroad, there's a system. We have rules in place. So we're gonna be talking about it with some experts from MyExpatTaxes, and let's get into it.
Alrighty.
If I could remember what the first topic was. Okay, so Natalie, imagine this. When did you move abroad?
2015.
2015, how old were you?
21.
Girl, I left when I was 22. We were babies. I don't know who let us do this.
It was like, finish college, peace out of here.
100%, 100%. Okay, thinking back to baby Natalie out there in these streets.
The mean streets of Vienna, Austria.
The mean streets of Vienna, Austria. What would your advice be for the preparation prior to leaving abroad? And we're specifically thinking about personal finance, taxes, and just overall financial wellness.
Of course. So when you first move abroad, a couple things you want to make sure is in place. One, are you going to keep your US bank account? I do highly advise you do keep it. It's just going to be helpful later on because you are still filing US tax returns. You might still have, a tax refund, and you'll want to have a US account that you can deposit those funds into. So try to keep a US bank account. Obviously, let them know that you're going to be abroad. So if you do anything with it, they don't flag you for suspicious activity and shut it all down. It's happened to me too many times to count.
Me too.
Of course, if you want to keep other US assets, US investments, right? Just keep in mind that a lot of the brokerages will require a US address. So I'm not going to advise on what exactly you should do here, right? Because that's not my place. However, I will say that it's pretty common that people that move abroad will use a trusted US address for some of these accounts.
You have to be able to have access to that address as well. I know a few people have used PO boxes and then lost the key, lost the combination, something happened, and they spent an extra $2,000 flying home to get that unlocked. So trusted address that you can receive mail at, and the two-factor authentication is going to be a big thing moving forward. It already has been implemented for a lot of financial institutions. My advice is use Google Voice. That's how I get access to all of my US bank accounts, even when I'm abroad, which is 100% of the time. So Google Voice, home address you can count on. What about folks who are thinking about retirement long-term? There are some nuances to investing and preparing for retirement as an American abroad. And so if they currently have a 401k or some sort of retirement account, do you think they should open another one? Should they keep them? What sort of advice would you have?
It really depends on what you have, what are those regulations, how soon do you want to access that money, right? So I can't give blanket advice, but generally, if you have a 401k with your employer and you leave that employment, you may have to roll those funds into a different account, right? So that's something you have to talk to with your employer or your financial institution. If you want to access your money, obviously you're going to be looking at taking out distributions, right? It might be easier to get the distributions while you're in the US already, so you don't have to deal with, any foreign taxation on your US retirement income and just keep it clean. Obviously, if you pull out your money early, you have to think about that early distribution tax, which is about 10%. If you say, no, I don't want to bring that income out yet, I want to keep, contributing to my retirement accounts in the US. So say you have a Roth IRA and you want to keep contributing to that Roth IRA while you're abroad, you 100% can. Obviously, you have to look at what the taxation rules are in the foreign country. But from the US standpoint, as long as you have taxable compensation and your adjusted gross income is not too high for your filing status for a Roth IRA, which we have a great video about at MyExpatTaxes, right, on our YouTube channel. But if you're eligible to contribute, you can still contribute. And so that's covering kind of retirement accounts. If you're looking at Social Security benefits, so say you have been working in the US and then now you're gonna move abroad and you have like 30 credits, right? And you're thinking, I'm gonna lose it all because I'm gonna move abroad, I'm not gonna move back. How do I get those 10 missing credits so that one day I can get US Social Security benefits? Well, guess what? You can actually still contribute to US Social Security benefits, credits in your account from abroad. It's a little bit harder because you can't really do it as an employee. But if you're self-employed, you could opt to pay self-employment tax in the event that you didn't have to, right? A lot of people do already have to, but in the event you don't have to pay self-employment tax, you could still opt into that system and then still be paying into your Social Security benefits account so that you will one day retire and benefit from foreign pension income as well as US Social Security benefits income.
This may feel like a lot of information, which is why you guys have a great wealth planning service now that you launched this year.
Yeah, so we're launching that service up because so many people are asking about. We have tax planning and we'll soon have wealth investment planning as well. And it really comes down to you should have a general plan. We're not saying you need to know exactly what to do when. We're saying before you move abroad, think about some key questions. Do you want to keep investing in the US market? Do you want to keep having US retirement investment accounts? Do you just want to close everything and all ties to the US and move abroad? Right? Think about that. And based on what your answers to those questions are, it will start guiding you on the path that you need to take.
Those are a lot of adult decisions. You don't have to make all of them before you leave.
Yeah, just think about it. Yeah, think about it is what I'm, failing to plan is planning to fail. Again, it's not, you don't need to know everything, but think about those questions. So if you think you might want to have US investments, keep the US address, keep the US bank account. Make sure you have ways to access those retirement accounts. If you don't care, then make sure you close them out while you're still in the US so you don't get subject to any foreign taxation on that income, right? Because once you move abroad, you may then become a taxable citizen of a different country.
And for the record, we have different strategies. Yeah. I have everything that she just mentioned. Natalie's finances and wealth plan is different as well. If you're new to this channel, I work directly with US Americans who are moving abroad, and I have seen everything from corporate people with like hundreds of thousands in RSUs and stocks planning their wealth management strategy to someone who literally did cut off all ties to America, also didn't allow their children to have a US passport. So whatever is right for you, you can build that plan for yourself and you don't have to make a decision right now. Focus on getting abroad first, and then you have all the time in the world to worry about this stuff.
Yeah.
A really interesting thing that I learned after I finally started making a little money, if you leave a country, you probably overpaid in your income tax to the country that you left. And you can reclaim that money once you become a tax resident in a different country. The UK government actually sent me several £1,000s because of this, and I was really, really excited about it. If someone is leaving the United States for the first time and they've worked for half the financial year, what should they do to claim back some of that money?
Of course. So let's draw it a bit back. And why is this the case? Well, the reason is when you work in most countries like the US, your employer will withhold a certain amount of taxes every single month. And they calculate the amount that they need to withhold based on the assumption that you will work the entire year. So obviously, if you only work part of the year, they're gonna be, by default, most likely withholding too much tax. And so when you move abroad, this is a very crucial time to just make sure you are filing your US taxes, right? That next April 15th. So again, if you're an expat, you generally have an extended deadline, 2 months. But if you are a first-time mover, right, I really recommend you try to hit that April 15th deadline that following year after your move. Because a couple things. One, you could have too much federal taxes withheld, right? And you can get a refund. But on the other side, maybe you made a lot where you moved. So you moved to Germany and then you got a really high income there. And then now your federal withholding is not high enough because the US will tax you. They're not taxing necessarily your foreign income, but your tax bracket is obviously based on your worldwide income. So all I'm saying is it's very common to get a refund, but it can also be common to actually pay in the year you move. And so instead of just saying, hey, I'm gonna delay this, get it over with, make sure you plan accordingly that you're gonna hit that April 15th deadline. We have a lot of resources at myexpattaxes.com to help you through it. We already start letting you file by February, right? And you can put in the pieces as you wait for other documents to just kind of get a hold onto how much you may or may not owe or what you get as a refund. So again, if you move abroad for the first time, try to get that April 15th deadline. Make sure you understand what all of your US income was. Again, a huge problem with the mailing. They will send you physical documents.
Snail mail.
They will send you physical documents and they will normally send it to the last address on your last US tax return. So you have to make sure that you either change your address with the IRS or that you can still access that mail. I know so many people, and I've seen it, that they move abroad and they don't report all of their investment income because they didn't get those 1099s. And then, it just leads to adjustments and issues with the IRS. And then at the other hand of it, you're moving to a different country, maybe it's a different language. Keep those pay slips. Even if you don't understand what's going on that piece of paper, our experts at MyExpatTaxes will understand what's going on, and we can at least make sure that we report all of your income properly. So again, hit that April 15th deadline. Make sure you have access to, whatever mail that you may get, and where the IRS will send your mail to. And then 2, or actually 3, there's a lot of points. 3, keep your foreign documents. Those are important. You are taxed, well, not really taxed, but you have to report your worldwide income.
For first-time filers, this is a whole new experience for them to file while abroad. Could you give people an idea of what to expect if they were to use MyExpatTaxes technology?
Of course. So you move abroad, you're now sitting in Germany, in the UK, somewhere in Asia, wherever. Just go to myexpattaxes.com, create an account. It's free to create an account, enter in your details, and you'll just answer some basic questions. When did you move abroad, right? What's your family situation? Are you married? Do you have dependents? And then basically, do you still have US income, right, to report from that prior year? So do you have a W-2? Do you have 1099 form? And then this is where you can decide, do you want to enter in that information by yourself, right, into our platform? We make it as easy as possible. Or do you want to hire a tax professional to help you enter in that information? But essentially, you enter in all your US income, if you're still contributing to your IRA accounts, and then it gets to the juicy part. You enter in your foreign income. And this is what really makes MyExpatTaxes stand out from the rest, is that you enter your foreign income in the foreign currency. You don't need to convert it yourself. You don't have to do all of that math. You just enter in, this is how much in euros I earned. This is, my bank interest in pounds, etc. So you enter in all of your worldwide income. And then, we'll ask a few more questions, of course, just to make sure, okay, what's your expat situation? Do you have carryovers? Do you want itemized deductions? But it's relatively smooth, I would say. It always depends, right? Obviously, if you have a lot of income, it will take more time. But for most of us, it takes 15 minutes, right? It's always the fear of doing taxes that I think paralyzes people.
Totally.
And then people will go on myexpattaxes.com and they'll be like, this was so easy. And that's how it should be. So if you don't have too much income to report and you're a relatively simple filer, so you have salary, maybe some investment income, it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Max.
Right? Yeah. You enter in all your income and then you're gonna go pay, right? And it's 149 euros for this, do-it-yourself program. Obviously, if you want to hire a tax professional to review your taxes, or you want to work directly with, a tax professional, it will have higher costs. But the starting plan is 149 euros. You pay for that, and then you get your tax return immediately. You get to look at it immediately. You get to see, okay, do I owe anything? Do I have a refund? And then, no matter what, plan you're in, you have the option to say, I have a question on this, or this doesn't look right. And, we'll give you a service depending on whatever plan you have, but it's not a tax service that's a robot. It's not that you enter in your income and then if, you have an issue, well, good luck. Good luck trying to contact someone, right? No, you can always contact someone. We're there. We know that it's complicated the first time you move abroad. So main thing is it's an easy service to use, but of course, if you need more help, you can get more help. It's always going to be help from real tax professionals. As we are now living in this AI world, I know it's hard to realize if you're getting help from, AI or if you're getting help from a real tax professional, but we're 100% human. We always are, right? Just because these things are more complex. So with that being said, that's how it looks like. You're going to go in, you're going to look at your tax return, you're going to give feedback, and if everything looks good, you're just going to e-file. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm
Easy.
I'm a long-time client. We'll be back again next year. I have income in 3 different countries. I am self-employed. I'm employed by someone in Germany, and I have assets in the UK as well. This year, Natalie, it took me 2 hours to finish filing, only because I spent the first 30 minutes worrying about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I always forget how much easier this is. And I have a whole YouTube video about how I paid $2,000 with a competitor to file a basic tax return when I was just a normal employee. And I wish there was more transparency in this space. That was before they existed as a company, so I won't hold it against you. To be clear, it was not them.
I was also quoted 2,000 euros once upon a time, which is why I came to start MyExpatTaxes.com. So I was in the same situation, but I just said, no, I'm not paying it.
I would rather start a whole company than pay out the nose for tax services.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be that difficult. It should not be a blocker for you to move abroad. Last question, because this video is so informative, but a little long now. As an influencer in the personal finance space abroad, a lot of people comment that the responsibility to pay taxes, or file taxes, I should say, back to the United States when you're abroad is the worst thing that could possibly happen and could be a blocker for people from moving abroad. What do you think about that statement?
It really is not. Yeah, it's annoying, of course. But I mean, with MyExpatTaxes, it's quite easy to do. Most expats don't owe any taxes. You are rarely ever double taxed because of all the expat tax benefits out there. And I'm not going to bore you with them in a different video, but not this one. We just do the calculations for you. A lot of expats get refunds. And again, if you really want to get savvy, right, there's another layer where you can literally use your US tax return to basically help your financial strategy so that you're really accessing both the US market and whatever market you live in for your retirement, for your asset management, etc. So, you know, yes, it's paperwork. Yes, it's some time. But again, you're probably going to spend more time worrying about it than it takes to actually complete your taxes with MyExpatTaxes.com.
And on that note, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked that video, check out my Personal Finance for Expats YouTube playlist, where I have so much more information about personal finance for people abroad like ourselves.
Thanks for watching. If you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.